Davis Webb, that makes a lot of sense. You want to keep him in the building. But outside of that, it just feels like they're putting the blame on him when it could go to Payton.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like if we had a bunch of bad shows in a row, or not even a bunch, just one bad show, and Wild's fired Dusty. Like, you're the one deciding the rundown, buddy. Like, Dusty's the producer, but you're in there. You're
Dusty
in there.
just
You're in there just yelling at Dusty like, this is how we're supposed to do it. Like, if we're doing the topics wrong, it's your fault, not Dusty's. And so, like, that's
Dusty's fault.
That's Dusty's fault. It'd be
if we have a bad show, it's Dusty's fault.
Okay. But here's the thing about Davis Webb or about this vacant job. Davis Webb doesn't want that job. This is not a good job. Your offensive coordinator. This is not about Bo Nix. I promise.
I know. Just get
offensive coordinator without being a play caller is not a marquee
But some
job.
of the guys with the Chiefs have been able to move on in that case.
Absolutely.
So you get the title if it's a successful team.
Nagy's like the only one, guys. Like it's
an odd interview. So do you call the plays? No, but I support.
And so, if I'm Davis Webb and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm interviewing for head coaching jobs, and then there's other teams that want me to be their play calling OC, like OC. No, so maybe he stays because he's familiar there. But if he doesn't, like no marquee up. I do not think this is a job people that think I'm on the head coaching track are going to want to get. Like Broncos OC is very different.
But he would be if, let's say, he becomes their OC next year and they have the same type of season this year. He's going to be in the head coaching.
For Davis Webb, maybe. What I'm saying is this: if this job is posted, if this job's open, this to me is one of the less attractive offensive coordinating jobs because you don't get to do the thing where you make your name as an offensive coordinator, calling the plays.
Yeah, we thought the Eagles' job was a little bit less desirable just because Sirianni occasionally pops in. Never mind calls all the plays.
Again, there is stability with this job, though.
Yep.
And that carries some weight.
Yes.
And so if you're Davis Webb, obviously you have
when they fire the guy after they make the AFC title game and they lose because they have a backup quarterback, it doesn't feel like there's quite as much stability.
Yeah, but you just get the sense of, in being in the locker room and understanding how it works, a coach that has been paired with a young quarterback, you are more hesitant to just dismiss and get rid of him than somebody who's just kind of overarching, just holding the title and not in the unit meetings, not in the quarterback meetings every day, not on the field working with him every day, not really in his ear every single day. Not to say that Joe Lombardi wasn't, but definitely not as much as Davis Webb.
That's good. He hit us with the knowing how the locker room works. Damn.
Yeah. I mean, what Greg is saying is 100% correct. And that's what, this is kind of what I said yesterday about the relationship between an offensive coordinator and like an offensive head coach, and saying that this job isn't desirable, this or that. Yeah, it's not desirable from like an outside perspective, like Cliff Kingsbury and Brian Dable and those types of guys and Mike McDaniel, but that's not what they're looking to do. That's not what the McVays look to do. That's not what the Shanahans look to do. That's not what Payton's look to do. It's a different relationship and so, of course, it's especially desirable from that perspective because you're also going to be more of a young, up-and-coming situation there where you will want to be with Sean Payne because you're going to learn from Sean Payne, and then you're going to be desirable in the same way that people are looking at the coordinators for Sean on McVay and et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's how it often works. That's how it often works. Not always. It doesn't automatically mean success, but that is typically the path. You're not always in this great situation where you can be like a Ben Johnson, where you are the true offensive coordinator calling all the plays, and now you get to then prove your worth and become the head coach. Like that's not necessarily what happened to Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, Shannon. Like it's a process. It's a process. So yeah, if you have already established yourself as a legit play caller, a legit coordinator, like Clint Kubiak getting fired, and wrongfully so, with the New Orleans Saints last year. And now he can choose between going to Seattle or Denver. Yeah, you're going to choose Seattle, right? Like that makes sense. That makes sense. So But those are just different conversations, though. Those are different conversations, and it's just yeah. I think ultimately Sean Payton is looking to make a more collaborative inner circle with Von Nix himself and Webbs, and when you already have the dynamic that Sean Payton has, upgrading the offensive pass game coordinator and quarterbacks coach, mainly quarterbacks coach. Now that relationship gets to flourish even more, and you're cutting out like another middleman in a lot of ways. You're cutting out another person that you now need to kind of influence in that needs to be part of this process. And I just think you're in a weird enough way, you're just kind of trimming the fat, and you're updating a coach and elevating a coach that you believe is going to bring you a lot of value, that you, again, and this is what I said yesterday, that is he's going to feed you a lot of information that you're going to want to use. So the fact they're scapegoating or the whole Dusty analogy is just silly, because Sean Payton took full responsibility for them. Like, he took full responsibility completely. This isn't scapegoating. This is just management. This is just management. You know what scapegoating was? Firing Clint Kubiak last year because the offense tanked when they got decimated with injuries. That was scapegoating. Firing Cliff Kingsbury when they got decimated in Arizona. That is scapegoating. You know what they also said about Sean Payton about the struggles when he first got to Denver by moving on from Russ? It's a really expensive scapegoat. Well, they made the playoffs, and then made the playoffs again, won the division, won the XIO, number 1 seed in the conference, and got to the AFC Championship game, and most likely would have won the conference if Bo Nix was playing. So, was it a scapegoat, or was it appropriate? Did it make football sense? So, don't get tricked into believing that there's some sort of scapegoating here. It's management and coaching. It makes sense. And it is interesting because, he's being interviewed with the Raiders. Obviously, the Bills' head coaching job is not going to be there, but OC job with Eagles, Giants, Ravens, So I'm curious to see what it automat, how much is this web driven? The webs, what happens with him. So we'll see. But on the surface, it all seems to make sense to me. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think? Are you surprised the Broncos fired their offensive coordinator? And do you think he was scapegoat, Mr. Joe Lombardi? Let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment. So, you agree with me or disagree with me? Either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get into some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We're building an amazing community here and absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all generally feel connected to. Something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help visibility in the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.